Personally, I have missed grabbing a beer with friends, and with restrictions lifting, our favorite local breweries and eateries are finally reopening. And this is the first place on my list to grab a drink and meet up with friends. Let's explore Raleigh's finest breweries, Raleigh Brewing Company. I'm Stefano Dell'Aquila with the Cully Group, and thank you so much for joining me as I chat with our friend Christy, the owner of Raleigh Brewing, and Scott, the head brewer. Today we're going to touch on life inside a brewery and what all goes on behind the scenes to make these tasty beverages. We're here with my good friend Christy, the owner of Raleigh Brewing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
So let's get started with how the brewery, came about and how it took off.
Well, you happen to be here on a very special week. It is our anniversary week of 8 years. So we are celebrating 8 years of being in business.
That's awesome.
So take you back to March of 2013 when Raleigh Brewing was created. We actually created a business plan that encompassed many aspects of the brewing industry.
Okay.
So we have, with Raleigh Brewing, we created a 20-barrel production brew house. It's in full production mode, all cans, kegs, off-premise, on-premise. We're very, very busy here at Raleigh Brewing Company. Make some of the best beers in the industry and also in the area, and it's a fun place to hang out. So that was one area of the business. The other business is the Atlantic Brew Supply, which Atlantic Brew Supply is a home brew supply store. It's mainly online, so you actually can go online, order your homebrew supplies, and take them home, and next thing you know, you're going to have a stout, lager, or whatever else. But
awesome.
The nice aspect of Atlantic Brew Supply is that we do have a really large store here as well. It's actually attached to our brewery, and we have so that everybody that works in that facility is very knowledgeable about brewing. If you're brewing a new beer, have any questions, it's a great place to kind of go and get connected there. And then another part of our business is ABS Commercial. So ABS Commercial you'll see around in this warehouse are our brew house tanks. We actually manufacture those tanks and sell them across the U.S. So across the U.S. into Europe and into South America as well.
Well, tell us how COVID has affected and changed your business.
Yeah, so COVID definitely was a big abrupt halt in March of 2020, like 180. So we went directly into cans, went directly into making sure that our grocery stores were supplied and had enough, and thankfully our consumers around the area are very familiar with our product. And we actually overall, if I look back, reflect, we actually did really well there as far as off-premise sales. But we also, in the tap room, once we started opening the tap room back, make that super safe. We have all of the tables that are separated, so all of the consumers that come into the tap room also feel very safe. Yeah.
So what would you say events coming up for the brewery?
So this week is our 8-year anniversary week. So with that, we are doing because of a pandemic, typically we have a party that includes anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 people. Of course, this year we can't do that. I mentioned earlier that we are in canned products. We are actually giving back to our consumers. So because we've received so much love throughout this last year from our customers, we're giving them deep discounts on some of our canned products so that they can take them back to their home, feel safe there. We are having a small party, and that will include live music, specialty beers, and all of that. We'll have some swag giveaways, so lots of fun.
So what would you say is your favorite beer?
So my favorite beer is pretty much the rest of the community's favorite beer, and that is called Hell Yes Ma'am. So Hell Yes Ma'am is a Belgian Gold, and it's 9.2%. Has a lot of flavor, so it packs a lot of flavor, but it's also really smooth. We're going into the summer season. I typically will go for something like a Saison. We have Sunswept Saison here. It's really nice and lemony, crisp. And we also do make a light lager, pack light lager. We made that specifically for our tap room in RDU Airport. So that is an American light lager, and it also is very smooth and crisp and perfect for a hot summer day in the Carolinas.
So has Raleigh Brewing won any awards?
We have received awards. So we receive many regional and local awards throughout the years. The one that we are noted for specifically is our Great American Beer Fest Award. So we received a GABF award for our Imperial Toll, our Imperial Oatmeal Stout actually, and it's called the Toll. It's a winter beer, very, very rich, deep, lots of chocolate and roasted notes, so it's really, really nice.
So where can you see the company in 5 years from now?
So 5 years from now, we are going to continue to really focus on what we do best. So we are going to spread a little bit further to the coast, maybe a little bit further on Charlotte from a distribution perspective.
Right.
But really what I found over the 8 years is you focus on what you do best, which is make quality beer, make sure you're staying very consistent with the quality, and the consumers will tell you where to go next. And that's what we've done.
Scott, the head brewer, is joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about the brewing process and how often it happens?
Of course. So here at Raleigh Brewing Company, we brew on a 20-barrel system. So we're brewing 620 gallons per batch per day. If we're doing a double, we're doing about 1,200 gallons. What we do is basically we make a mash full of basically milled two-row grains, everything like that, and we make what would best resemble something like a porridge. So we're mixing the grains with hot water. That allows us to extract the sugars from the grain, and then that is what in turn becomes the alcohol. Once the mash is done, we're able to drain all of the sugar water, which is now called wort, from our mash tun into our boil kettle. We bring that wort up to a boil. We go ahead and add our hops. That's the bittering potential. So in IPAs, pale ales, they have a lot more hops than say a lager or a pilsner. We add our hops in the boil. We go ahead and knock out into one of our conical fermenters, add our yeast, let it go, let it do its job, and a couple weeks later we have beer.
Awesome.
Here at Raleigh Brewing Company, we're brewing about 120 barrels of beer a week on the big system and maybe 3 to 6 on our small system. So that equates to about 3 to 4 brew days a week.
Wow, that is a lot of beer. So how do you transfer that into the canning process?
So once beer is bright and ready to go to be packaged, it'll be crashed, so we'll cool the beer down, and then we actually put it through a centrifuge. So we spin beer at 8,200 RPMs. That allows us to pull out any hops, yeast, any trub, or anything that could have made it into the fermenter, into our bright tank, so we end up with really nice, bright, clear beer. It gets carbonated, and from there we push it into either kegs or into our canning line.
Okay, cool. I had so much fun hanging out with Christy and Scott at the brewery. Thank you so much for tuning in to Discover the Triangle. If you're looking to move to Raleigh, please make the Coley Group your first phone call. You can reach us at 919-526-0401, and I'll see you at happy hour. Cheers. Cheers.